Hi everybody, this is lecture 1 for the engineering management course, and this is the MIT version. So MIT doesn't stand for Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It stands for Management of Information Technology, and it is, just so you know, and I'm just pointing this out for new people, just so you know, it is broken. Now let's see if I can, well, it's in the Management Technology Management section. I was just showing you. Oh, here we go. Don't know why that was running so slowly. This lecture is going to be in this section here, Technology Management Lectures. This is lecture number 1. So that's where you're going to find it on the bhacker.com website. So what do I want to do? Well, it's the first day of engineering management. I got to talk about what engineering management actually is. It's a hybrid discipline. It hasn't been around forever. Management's been around forever. Some other fields haven't been around that long either, so I want to talk about the different fields in this subject area to kind of give you a comparison and to kind of tell you what engineering management's all about. And some of you just signed up for it because, hey, it's engineering, or it's management, or I don't know, I don't have that degree yet, or whatever reason you signed up for the program, you're in the program, so you might as well know what it is, right? So, essential fields of study in business. Well, it is a business discipline, by the way. It counts for engineering, especially for like CPT and for international status. It isn't engineering, which makes it popular, but it is also business, which is kind of the interesting twist on it. So what are the differences among the following fields, which is actually kind of an interesting thing. I'm going to tell you the differences. We have Management Information Systems, or MIS. You can actually talk about Computer Information Systems, or CIS. Then we have Information Technology, or IT. No one likes to use MIT because it's the name of a really popular school. But Management of Information Technology is really the term for it. But they take the M off of that. So it's IT. Or they go IS&T, which is IS ampersand T, Information Systems and Technology. Because then you have 2 I's, you take away the second I. Anyway, it's commonly abbreviated that way. Computer science, computer engineering, you can probably put software engineering on this list as well. It's another engineering. Or we have computer engineering, computer science, software engineering. And then you can add engineering management to the list. These are the traditional lists. So if I were to study management information systems, and if you're an MBA student, then you probably are familiar with the concept. So information is not data, but it's created from data. So IS specialists, information systems specialists, they go around and they start making information. How do you make information? Well, you take data from a company, and this is all company management related stuff. Take the data and you add it with other data and you do some analysis on the data and you come up with information. So information systems as a major, or MIS, is managing the data of the corporation, of the company. So MIS managers, they work with databases, database systems, application programs. They're not the technical people who are actually fixing them. That's IT. So information technology is the technology that's driving the information system. So a database, let's just talk about that for a second. An MIS person would design, what do we need this database for? And let's talk about a university as an example. Well, we need to keep track of students and classes and tuition and which classes are full and who's teaching which classes and which majors belong to which groups of classes and yada yada. They go through and they spec all that out. That's the management people, that's the IS people. And then they say, okay, well, we need a database. Then they go to the IT people and they say, okay, build us a database. What kind of database you want? Oh, I don't know. It's your job. Build a database. So the IT people go, oh, how about Oracle? How about MySQL? Let's make a website out of this. Let's figure out how to do it. So these guys work together. The MIS people work together with the IT people. The only difference between these two different careers are these guys are more technical oriented. These guys are DBAs. They're network administrators. They are actually, unfortunately, desktop support ends up in this category. You know, those people that come around and fix computers. Those are your IT folks. Although fixing computers, desktop support is the low end of that career. The high end is the person who fixes the network or configures the network or builds the builds the technology used in the classrooms and things of that nature. And then the IS people, that's the managers sitting around together saying, hey, maybe we need to do this. Maybe we need to do that. They're making the decisions on what kind of information they want. And the IT people are giving it to them. These guys don't normally make decisions. IT people don't normally traditionally make, and I'm using the word normally and traditionally here, kind of loosely say, you can't make this generic. Every single job's a little bit different. We have some IT people that act like IS people. You know, we have some IS people that are IT people. You know, and there's kind of a, definitely there's a bit of an overlap between these two career areas. Computer information systems came out as the solution to that overlap. It's nothing more than a combination of MIS and IT. Then we have CIS. So computer, they know computers, and they also work with information systems. It's not technology, it's not a full technology, because technology would be computers plus networking, plus routers, plus, I don't know, you know, just put a bunch of stuff in. Put, you know, phone networks, voice over IP, anything that would end up in a technology category. These guys are just focusing on the computer end of it. So, and this primarily software. So they're the ones working at people, you know, working with PeopleSoft, SAP. Those are CIS people. They're doing information systems, but they have computer technology. Now your trade schools will have a CT degree, computer technology, which is half of this. It's no IS, it's just the computer technology. Those CT people do desktop support. So computer technology, they're the ones that do desktop support. Desktop support those a little low end, just out of high school or just out of college. You don't want to do this if you're just out of college. Just out of high school, you took a computer proficiency test, you got a CT, 2-year college degree, whatever. You're going around, you're fixing people's computers. You're installing virus protection on it. You're fixing their software problems that they have. You don't go to college for that normally. It's a trade school kind of thing. And then CIS ended up with that kind of reputation. Oh, it's trade school. Not really, because people got confused with that C in there. So now this has really gone away. I mean, it's here and around, but it's really gone away. So now most of the MIS is considered the higher end. The IT is the lower end, because these guys are getting paid to think. These guys are getting paid to do, which, you know, if you think about the hierarchy of evolution, the thinkers end up making more money than the doers. Which is actually kind of funny because the scenario is backwards. IT people will make a lot more money than MIS people. So they don't care about thinking that, everyone thinking that they're a lower grade. They don't care. They're making more money. Who cares? Most IT people make more money than their manager does. So if you want money, you go into IT. You want management. You don't want to deal with the day-to-day hassles. There's a lot of stress in IT. You don't want to deal with that, go into MIS. Or you're in computer science, CS computer science. We have computer science department here. Inside of computer science, we have software engineering. We used to have computer engineering, and then computer engineering moved over into electrical engineering. Computer engineering is hardware. Computer science is software. So, computer science is completely programming. And data structures and algorithms. What were you going to say? Development, yeah. You could have software development. If you're going to do software development to the extreme, then you're a software engineer. You're SE, software engineering. So we have, we're working on actually, we have a computer science PhD program coming up in the makings. Also a bachelor's degree in computer science. We have a master's in software engineering at this school. Why do we have that? Because primarily most of the courses we've taught traditionally are in the area of software engineering. So how does software engineering differ from computer engineering? Well, computer engineering, take the software component out of it. If you wanted to make boards, PCBs, you want to design, you want to make a DSP, you want to use DSP chips, you want to, or, I don't know, Intel chips, and you want to figure out chip designs, you want to build chips in the future, you want to build hard drives, flash memory, computer systems, you study computer engineering. So computer engineering is more of an engineering than a science is, by theory, by tradition. And keep in mind, this is my own perspective on this. Other people might disagree with me on this. There's a lot of controversy. In fact, for years, people don't even want to consider computer engineering an engineering discipline. It's like, what? You know, and you take software engineering 1, and that's what you talk about in day number 1 is this really an industry? And it is. Well, computers never existed back when they were deciding what the industries were supposed to be. So that's what happened there. But anyway, computer science is programming. Android, iPhone, iOS, Java, C++, Objective-C, data structures, algorithms, which go along with programming, operating systems, computer networking, very broad field, very specific. People generally have a concentration in computer science. They focus. One of the focuses of computer science is software engineering. Software engineering is the engineering, the building of software, as you might imagine. Software development life cycles. Hold that thought for 1 second. We're going to have attendance. Software development life cycles. Stuff. Okay, actually, forget it. I'll hold the thought. You take attendance. I'll hold the thought. We're going to take a 2-second break here. Okay, so let's resume. I think I was talking about software engineering and comparing it with computer science. So software engineering is really a sub-discipline of computer science. They call it engineering. It's the engineering of software. So it's only dealing with software development life cycles and software re-engineering, business process improvement. There's a little bit of business overlap into software engineering, which is why it's a popular kind of subject matter anyway. You know, the whole area of engineering software and creating software applications and programs and going through a development. So development is really software engineering. Science is really the technology behind the development, and computer engineering is really just hardware for the most part. You could take a software course in computer engineering, but you're really focusing on building, you know, hardware. It's more of an engineering topic, actually, if anything. So, engineering management is a combination of all of this. It's the management skills needed to manage in all of these different technology areas. So engineering managers could be working with computer engineering, computer science, software engineering, information technology, information systems, and management information systems. It's kind of a hybrid discipline, which makes it interesting. And it's sort of, you know, it's kind of interesting because it is brand new. It doesn't make it to a lot of lists. You know, when people go, engineering management, what is that? Hardly anyone knows about it. And it means something different in every industry. So an engineering manager in a pharmaceutical engineering kind of environment or biotechnology doing something completely different than one in a software engineering field. In fact, it's not, you know, it goes from the extreme of being a pseudo project manager to being a hands-on development person. So the roles really differ a lot. So part of what we're doing inside of this class is kind of just exploring the subject area and exploring the different fields and the different, you know, environments. So why an MBA or engineering student needs to know, what do they need? Why do they need to know MIS, IT, and you know, all this stuff here? Well, it's the role that IT is playing in business. This is the Silicon Valley. You're in California, and we are technology central, not as much as some of the other areas these days, but most of the companies around here are dealing with technology. Just step outside the door, go to Adobe, go to Google. They're all technology companies. Internet technology for the most part right now, or social media related. But you can't avoid it. You can't be afraid of it. Embrace it, make it part of your career, and then you'll exceed. You'll succeed and exceed your goals. Also, in your business, in your company, IT is the foundation of your tools that you're using. Every employee has a computer these days. Everything's automated. Everything's on the computer. Even if you're managing a Target store, you know, or a retail store as an example, you still have to know about technology. Somebody implemented, you know, the scanners for the checkout center. There's a process to a customer service person ringing somebody up. There's inventory control systems. So even in a non-technical company, you still have to know about technology if you're a manager. You can't really be a manager, a good manager, without having a technology background. It doesn't work. Because you're not going to be able to implement solutions to problems. You're not going to be able to fix anything. So it's kind of like if you don't know anything about computers these days and you're trying to write a paper, are you going to go to a flea market, buy an old, or a garage sale, buy an old typewriter? You know, people are going to look at you funny. And if you're the manager, you're going to get fired if you do that. It's not going to work. So understanding also how to use IT as a competitive weapon. So we think about business concepts these days. Everything is competition. You know, everybody's making an MP3 player. Everybody's making a CD-ROM drive or whatever. So long story short, how are you going to make your product sell over another product? How are you going to make your business thrive over another one? How are you going to get your market share? There's a lot of interesting things going on. The industry changes constantly. Business practices have changed constantly, which is actually good for you. Because if you have an older generation manager hanging around for 20 years, are they really going to know about social media marketing? No. The power of blogging? No. In fact, they probably don't even know what those words mean. But fresh graduates are a little bit more versed on that. They've got a little bit more training on that, so they're actually a better find. So no longer is it the person who's been on a job for 20 years. Nah, you need a fresh set of skills. The environment's changed, competitive advantages to hiring newbies or people that don't have that much experience. You actually get a better, stronger workforce, believe it or not. They don't have any traditional business experience, but they're more up-to-date skill set-wise, so that's a good bonus. So these are some of the things we'll be talking about in the course, actually. Understand the impact that we have for good and bad decision-making, becoming literate to a certain point, knowing how to deal with IT people, knowing how to manage. So maybe you're not going to be working with, as an example, hands-on technology, but you'll be managing people who are. So there's a slightly different dynamic to that as well in terms of how to manage people. So real world case here, Amazon.com, physical world. It's old. Location. Well, not really. Put it online. There's no such thing as a location. So the old saying doesn't work really. Three most important things that, looking at technology. So, in the old days, actually if you talk about the old days, before the internet, where's your store? Who can see your store? Where's the sign on the freeway? You notice now we don't have that many signs on the freeway anymore. People aren't looking for stuff. If they are, it's gas stations or something. It's mostly events and stuff. Now it's technology that's going to run it. Computerized warehouses. Amazon is actually one of those companies that has been around and has seen the economy and has seen things change drastically since the beginning. Turnover rate for warehouses is 20 times actually. So. Trouble with most companies is that they make judgment-based decisions when data-based decisions can be made instead. Which is actually kind of interesting. Data and information systems and technology drives good decision making. If you don't know the data and you're just doing it on a hunch, you could be wrong. It's kind of like throwing darts at a dartboard. You don't know exactly where you're going to hit, and you're going to make your decisions upon what you hit. So if you actually have the data, which is what a lot of companies have done, they've studied the psychology of the consumer. They've studied consumer behavior. They've studied what's going on. They look at the data. They turn it into the information. So part of what we're looking at in this class is how to do that. How to look at data, analyze data, turn it into information for better decision making, how to make better decisions. Because as an engineering manager, what makes or breaks you is how well you make decisions. If you make really poor decisions, you're not very valuable for the organization. So the role of the information system and the data in the business, we've got this kind of like little pyramid effect here. So it's on actually different management levels. So this comes out of Management Science 101, where we have the hierarchy of the employee, hierarchy of the social. It's not social, it's more of a hierarchical structure. On the bottom, this is the tactical workers. These are the pencil pushers. These are the retail sales, unskilled labor. On the top, we have the CEOs, the CTOs, the CIOs, the business owners. In the middle, we have the support staff, the middle management or management staff. So we talk about this. And in range of jobs, it's pretty clear. But in range of technology needs and management, that's where you come in. So you're an engineering manager, and you're gonna be somewhere along the lines. Hopefully, you're more up here. Actually, you're in between the support decision making and the support for strategic and competitive advantages. If you're really good, you're up here at the top. And what you're doing is helping these guys down here. It's a layered approach, which is why it looks like a pyramid. So if you have the support, the business processes, and the operations, you've got transaction processing occurring down here. In a retail environment, let's say, for example, this is the person who's ringing up the sales at the registers. Well, they're using technology. They're not deciding which technology they're using. They're not managing themselves. How many is that stocks there are for Apple? No. I don't know. Anyway, we also have the manager. This is the support or the decision maker. Would be like the store manager would be up here, or the operations manager, or the district manager. Up here we have the regional manager. We have the sale of this state, and that state, or if it's a combination of a distributed kind of environment. Or we have the CTOs, the CIOs, all of the chiefs that are making the strategic decisions. As a business person or a management person, you want to be up here. That's your goal. You can't get up there unless you make good decisions. So if you're down here and you're making poor decisions, they're never going to bring you up here. So, I don't know. From a decision standpoint, you need the information to make the better decisions. You need to know how to use the systems and the information for your advantage. The role of e-business in business, well, can't tell you enough. Everything is e-business. E-business is actually a different business model than traditional business. E-business is not buying and selling. It's not e-commerce. It's not buying and selling stuff online. That's e-commerce. E-business is a totally different way of doing business, totally different objectives, totally different management style, completely different than traditional brick and mortar type of business. Using the internet, so we got suppliers and businesses, and we have the intranet and the internet, and we have all of the different communication that goes along. So they've been coining this term. They call e-businesses enterprise organizations. So an enterprise organization, all I'm going to talk about this, I'm just introducing these topics to you that I'll be talking about throughout the course. Enterprise is you, your suppliers, your customers, and everybody else you're working with, all in one organization, all together. You don't get that in the brick and mortar society. In brick and mortar society, you got, oh, I have the better location than you do. You know, you have the location struggle. You have your suppliers that you buy some stuff from. And you go, okay, bye-bye. You know, I'll come in next week. Come over next week. Give me some more stuff, you know. You have different relationships. In the e-business environment, you have inventory-less systems normally. You don't keep a warehouse full of items. You have a relationship with your suppliers. When the company sells something, it goes from your supplier to the customer, and it doesn't even go through you. Most of your e-businesses work that way, because if you're electronic and you're buying and selling product, goods, and services online, what do you need a warehouse for? So the concept of that warehouse, a storefront, the inventory, has gone away. So it's all controlled electronically. Excellent example of this is Barnes & Noble, actually, which is actually kind of funny because Barnes & Noble is now closing down. It took them a long time. I was like, how long did it take for them to start closing down their retail stores? Their retail stores are losing them money because everybody's buying everything online anyway. But long story short, you got a nice business model going on here where you've kept retail prices pretty standard. So you walk into a Barnes & Noble bookstore and there's books on the shelf and it's cost $55. And it comes from this manufacturer and it's called Introduction to Engineering Management or something. And it reminds me I have to talk about books for a second, but I'll do that after this example. And you say, all right, I'll buy this book. You buy the book. You know, the model is, you know, somebody had to go buy the book. The book's sitting in the store. The book is only making Barnes & Noble maybe $10, not making them very much money. You say, okay, instead of going to the brick and mortar building, I'm going to buy it online. So we're going to run as an enterprise now. So Barnes & Noble's running as an enterprise. It doesn't know anything about this book, but the publisher does. Electronically connects the publisher databases to its inventory, quote unquote. Not really its inventory. The book goes from Pearson's or whatever publisher this happens to be to the customer without Barnes & Noble even seeing the book. They don't even know what the book looks like. Their profit margin on that is more like double, triple that. They're making now $40, $30. Of course they're going to do that because they don't have the overhead of the store, but they also have everything streamlined. So now they can do, like, for example, the Amazon model. They could be a bookstore, but then they can also, how many people have bought, like, mice and erasers and pens and stuff on Amazon? You can buy anything you want from Amazon. They have retail connections. So they took the same model, which is actually kind of ingenious because Barnes & Noble didn't do that. You can't buy a used mouse on barnesandnoble.com. It doesn't work that way. But you can buy it on Amazon. Actually, their Amazon sales, and in fact, they've gotten into the DVR, or the Amazon Prime. They've gotten into the TV business now, too. They were able to take the model of the enterprise, extend it out into different areas outside of books, which is actually kind of interesting. In fact, Amazon actually sells server space and cloud services, too, which is kind of interesting. They sell everything. It's like the supermarket of online distribution. And you're thinking, well, that's an e-business. That's how you run an e-business. Those are the kind of the components to it. It's not necessarily their big product line, but it's the model. It's being able to not have an inventory, but get into these different markets, line it up so it's streamlined. They take a cut of everything. So it's kind of like your eBay model, actually, which is your auction house. But eBay is a slightly different business model than this. But we'll talk about business models in the course. I'm just introducing the concept to you. But this picture is supposed to be showing you this business model of engineering and research and manufacturing, production and accounting and finance, all working together with customer relationship management, supply chain management. Don't worry, I'm going through all these topics within the next 16 weeks. This is pretty much the roadmap of the course. So it's pretty much what I'm going to be talking about. And then as an engineering manager, how do you manage all this stuff? How do you make it all work together? What are some of the problems and considerations to think about? Stuff like that, which is the topics. Now I mentioned textbooks, and I forgot to mention textbooks earlier. There is no textbook for this course. Unfortunately, you can't put the course in a textbook. There's a couple of different, I think there's like 3 right now. Engineering management, but they all have their slightly different focuses. Some of them focus on information systems, some of them focus on technology. You know, it's like you can't buy a generic Engineering Management 101. It's kind of like Management 101. There's no such thing as Engineering Management 101 out there on the market. It just doesn't exist. So instead of taking the textbook route, I'm giving you supplemental readings. So we got like about 50 lectures out there. You got different topics. So you won't have to read very much. Your assignments will require you to do research, internet research. So you won't have to, and we actually have access to a library as well. You can use the library for it, or you can just use the internet. Finding articles on certain things, researching different technologies, researching different models. There's a lot of self-study in the fact that you have to do your own research for it, because there seriously is no book out there that's going to. If I were going to assign a book, I'd have to assign 3 books or 4 books on all these different topics, which is good for you. It saves you a little bit of money. You don't have to buy a book. But a long story short, you don't have a book, so it means you got to get the information somehow. So that's why we have 3 assignments and 4 case studies, so that you can read the case studies, read the information, digest it, and then it actually makes your class in time more effective because I'm giving you the content in class. And I'm going to give you half of the lecture stuff. You'll be able to read the rest of the lecture stuff on your own. So, supplemental materials that I'll be providing. So, long story short, you can save your money on the book. Half of you don't buy the book anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Students don't buy books anymore. They download, ebook. They download them illegally off of BitTorrent. No, I shouldn't say that. Not everybody does that. Let's see, so we got support for business operations, support for management decisions. There's another summary overview of the information systems hierarchy. It's spelled like a hierarchy. It looks like an organizational chart, actually. Operation support, management support, broken out into different levels in terms of the transaction processing, control systems, enterprise resource collaborations and stuff. And these are a bunch of buzzwords I'm going to be giving you throughout the course as well. So. Other information systems, and we will also talk about these topics as well throughout the course, is the concept of knowledge management And expert systems. So look at knowledge management, expert systems, also functional database systems and business systems. Not a systems course. I'm not gonna introduce you to a bunch of applications. Instead, these are categories of applications. Cross-functional systems, ERP systems. I believe we'll be spending a lot of time on Salesforce systems, ERP systems, supply chain management systems, customer relationship management systems. So looking at why they're used, how they fit into the organization, stuff like that. So it's a technology overview, let's just say. But you don't have to program one, and you don't have to worry about one in general. So, I mean, you don't have to worry about actually working or being functional in one. But it's nice to know what an ERP system does and how it works and how it fits into the business model of what you're trying to achieve. And how, as an engineering manager, you have to make decisions in terms of what features we want in this system, how we're going to use this system, why do we want this system, what is it going to be used for. So some management challenges will also be presented. Here's Hershey's Foods, failure and success with IT. Actually, it's funny, food industries have huge failures with IT. It's weird. Actually, you know, if you didn't think about the .com, and you guys probably weren't here for it, but back in the, the hype of everything, we had this company called Webvan, and we still have the service actually. That failed completely. And then when it came out originally, I'm like, why in the world? It's like pet stores on pet.com or whatever. I was like, why would you want to buy a 50-pound bag of pet food and have it shipped to you? It costs more for the shipping than it would for the food, actually, and it did. It's like buying tires online. Why are you going to have tires sent to you? So, but everything was online. It was the .com bust, or not bust, it was the hype of it all. But anyway, there's this company called Webvan that would actually go to grocery stores, pick up food for you, and deliver it. It costs too much. If you're buying okay, in America, now I'm going to stereotype. In America, there's like 2 or 3 different categories of people. People that just eat out constantly all the time. And they know that they're going to spend more money for it, but they're doing it for convenience. And it's just a different lifestyle. And then we got the people that go to grocery stores. Usually the bigger families that cost too much to eat out, and they have the homemaker stays at home. She has time to cook, or he has time to cook. And everything can just kind of flow easier, cheaper way of living, right? Those are the people that go to grocery stores. You take a concept of a web van, make it convenient, jack up the price of the groceries. Now they don't have to go to the store. Well, they have time to go to the store. That's what they do during the day. They go to the store. That's what they do. They stock up. They have big refrigerators and freezers in their garages. They store all this stuff for the winter. There's constantly food around that house. Why do they need this overnight service? Or within the hour? The product just didn't work because it was the demographic of the people they were trying to sell this thing to wasn't right. The pricing structure wasn't right. The whole concept was wrong from the business concept. So that's one of the things that we'll look at in this course is, applying technology is good as long as the business concept is good and it makes sense. It's like these companies for the longest time that went out and bought all these wireless network systems. And they have a wired network. Hello, why do you need wireless for you? Every one of their desks had a wired connection to it. Or they did the opposite. They had a wired system, they had a wireless, and then they put in a wired one. So why are you doing that? You have 2 now. It's like people that buy 5 phones. I have this, and I have this, and I have this. In fact, you can probably relate to this as a personal consumer. Before you buy a new electronic component these days, you're supposed to think about how is this going to fit in to the other components that I have. Do I need an iPad? Do I need a new phone? And then we make these justifications like throwing it out the window or stepping on it. Oh, it's broken. And you see commercials like that all the time. Oh, here, wait a minute, I need a new phone. Or we start complaining about our computers. Oh, here, just drop it a couple more times. There we go. Now we can get a new one. But long story short, if you do that at a company, you're in trouble. But you're making these decisions for a company, and it's all about new technology. Every single week, something new is coming out. Actually, tomorrow, Apple's going to come out with a bunch of new stuff. And are you going to, well, most personal consumers, I put my computer will be for sale and I'll get a new one, right? But can you do that at a company? There's cost-benefit analysis to that. And then also, you know, are you going to buy the latest and greatest for your company's call center or something? Maybe they don't need that. Maybe they don't need wireless, something like that. So taking a look at the need for technology, balancing it with decision making, choosing the right technology, choosing the right upgrades. It's all part of the concept of being an engineering manager. You get stuck doing that. You know the engineering people, you're managing the engineering staff, you're working with the development group, you're making those decisions, bottom line. So you have to make good decisions. Role of e-business and businesses themselves. We'll look at e-business as a concept and developing IS solutions to problems, investigating, analyzing, designing, stuff like that. So anyway, the rest of this lecture goes into the concept of information systems and the fundamental processes that are associated with it. As an example, the input, processing, output, feedback, and control. I'm going to give you, in the next couple weeks, a little bit of an overview of information systems and also of information technology and also of software engineering and also of computer science. So you're going to get a broad overview of all those disciplines with the first couple of lectures. So I'll save that for next week. Next week, I believe, we're going to talk about information systems, systems models. But as an overview of what you're going to get in this course, which is the purpose of today. That's the goal for today. So anyway, so as promised, I'm going to let you out early. What you need to do is find the materials for the course, read the syllabus, get acquainted. First week of class is really a no-brainer. You just show up, you get your points for attendance. You're here, woohoo! Orient yourself to the course requirement. Get yourself access to the EMS if you don't have access to the EMS yet. Start reading through the materials, start reading through an overview of the assignments, and then next week we start in with the real lecture number 1, which will be on the first topic area that will be related to assignment number 1. And then as we go through each week, I bring you up new topics, I go over the assignments, I go over the case studies and stuff. And so there's not, it's a pretty lightweight course. It's not like a heavy-duty challenging course. It should be a fun course, hopefully. So I'm going to stick around a little bit longer if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, but outside of that, you're free to go. We have a short class today. Thank you.